I don't have a plushie problem. You have a plushie problem. Don't they? Yes, they do. Yes, they do. Welcome to another video from Cardboard East. My name's Jay. I play board games from Asia and share what I find with all of you. Today is something very unique. This is part of my new vlog series. In fact, I'm not going to edit these that much because they are designed to be for my Patreon supporters. Starting, I believe, in August 1st, I'm going to be in August is when I'm going to try and do these weekly. I'm going to make the next few of them public just so people have an idea of what they're going to look like. And then in August, I'm going to put it behind probably a window maybe. So they'll be closed for like a month and maybe open to the public a month later, or just maybe close behind the Patreon paywall. Anyway, these are designed to just give you my thoughts on things because I have so many ideas for content, but I don't have enough time to make all that content. And also my thoughts on games change. So I'm playing games and liking them less and less, or liking them more and more. But if you don't follow me all the time, you may not realize that because I make the video for a game review here, and then maybe I play it again and I see something here, or I introduce it to a different group and they have a different group think and they approach it very differently, and I discover another layer that I didn't see there before. And that, I'm sure, happens to a lot of reviewers such as myself, but also just the regular gamers. Like, your taste on games will, guess what, change because you change over time. When I first played Glory to Rome, way back in the day, I didn't like it. I thought it was way too much going on. And then I played it a few years ago, and I'm like, wow, this is so smooth and simple, because I played more complex games, or games that stemmed off from Glory to Rome and took all those mechanics and put them other things and added more layers to it. And then when I went back to Glory to Rome, it was very streamlined and smooth. And this is one of my favorite card games of all time. But today's idea of the blog is, someone I noticed on BGG said, is there a way to filter the Gen Con preview list? It's like 550 games right now, just so I could see the trick-taking games. And so it says, yes, there's a filter that you could do. And they posted it on there. And then they put it up there, and I looked at it, and there are only 13 titles for trick-taking games that are going to be at Gen Con, or at least that are on the BGG preview. And lo and behold, I've played a lot of them, most of them. In fact, they're all here. Well, the ones that I played are here, all but one. Anyway, we'll get into it. So I'm just going to go ahead and talk about some of the games on this list, because I thought, it'd be kind of fun and neat to talk about. And I'm just going to go straight from the top to the bottom of the list. So we have 25th Century Games. They did a great job with Raw. I think I have it here somewhere. I gotta move. I gotta move. Like this. This is Raw. This is, in my opinion, like the definitive way of how to reprint a classic game from the aughts. You have new modern artwork, big chunky pieces, and it's gorgeous to look at. Like, it's just beautiful. I love it. I don't think it's ever leaving my collection. So 25th Century Games also has some trick-taking games coming out. First one is one that I haven't played before, and it's Jalape-NO, which I love a good pun. I think it's a good pun. It's by Creason and Kramer. They do a really good job. I believe it is a, they're all trick-taking games. I was going to say shitting game, but no, it's a trick-taking game. Anyway, I haven't played this one, but I like a good pun. I mean, Creason and Kramer are both really good designers, and they work best when they work together. So I'm curious to see what that one's going to be like. The next one is Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard. Where are you? Yes. So this one originally comes from Korea. It's chaos and kitties. So here it is, Jekyll and Hyde versus Scotland Yard. Now, this is by Gunnil, who is a Korean designer, and he specializes in two-player trick-taking games. In fact, I think I have most of his work here on the shelf somewhere. But he designed like Jekyll versus Hyde, which is like Jekyll versus Hyde. They're fighting for dominance over the body, fighting or control of his mind. And this was Jekyll and Hyde are fighting against Scotland Yard. What's really interesting about this one is, one, the artwork is fantastic. I mean, it's Vincent Dutray. He does a great job. It is kind of weird how Jekyll looks like Hugh Grant. I know I'm not alone in that. I know someone has said that, because it looks, when you look at it, you're like, oh, that's Hugh Grant. And not Hugh Grant, Hugh Jackman. They're about the same, right? No, they're not the same at all. But yeah, Hugh Jackman is in this game. So if you like him, you should probably get this game. It is a 2-player trick-taking game. One player's, and you are trying to push Jekyll and Hyde further down this track, and then Scotland Yard is slowly chasing behind you. What is really fascinating about this, and you can see it here, like this is, here it is, you're just slowly working your way across, is that this is a campaign game. And that's what's really neat about this, is that it's like 10 scenarios, and the card art is fantastic because it's Vincent Dutray. But it's interesting how like even like the early levels, so like it's super, super easy. And each, it goes from 1 to 10, and each scenario of the campaign gets more and more complicated. They added a new like mechanic to make it much more difficult. And even though the first like 3 or 4 are just there to kind of teach you like the actual game, like the base game is somewhere, I believe, scenario 5. Even those first 3 are rather interesting. And I think it's really interesting to kind of play your way through the scenario. And it's a game that tells a story. So you don't really see that often, and it makes it a very unique game to try. So if you really like trick-taking games and it's just you and your partner really love trick-taking games, this is a great one to play through. Okay, next up is, well, Bezier Games has 4 trick-taking games coming out, and I need to drop a big bag of salt here because I work for Bezier Games. So please take what I have to say about a little grain of salt. I'm just going to go ahead and talk about it. Colossal Cat in the Box here is, oh man, like I originally had this one, right? This is the one I had. This is the Cat in the Box Deluxe, was the Chinese. If you want to talk about why is it Deluxe, the original one came out years before, and it was like very, very low budget from Japan. And then the Hobby Japan and Bezier Games brought it together. And this is like the nice version that you probably have played. Well, I liked it. I didn't think I really needed like the Colossal version until I played it in the office of Bezier Games. And oh my gosh, this is amazing. Like this is so good. Now, I mean, first and foremost, you get this guy. He lives on my sofa because he can't fit anywhere. Look, he would take up a whole Calyx shelf. Like he's huge. This guy is huge, 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 huge. I don't want to put you on the floor. I'm just gonna put him maybe here, kind of off camera. He's really tubby and he rolls around. Anyway, this is a first player token, and it is adorable. Look at that. Look at that. It's so cute. He just lives on my desk permanently because I love looking at him, and he'll make my day feel great. But Colossal Cat in the Box, it's just, oh man, it's just really, really nice. The rule book is, well, I mean, there's some English discrepancies here because they were in the original one, and then Hobby Japan didn't want to change it. So we're like, okay, fine, we don't change it. But the board is much bigger because it's like a colossal size version, and then there's our other expansions in there. The cards themselves are really good quality. Like I might just throw out the ones in my small box and just replace them with these because these are really nice. Comes with a border. They're nice linen finish. Super nice, but these, oh, I gotta show, this is what I wanted to show you. These little cat trays, all comes pre-punched, nice transparent cat case, and then look how chunky these pieces are. That's chunky bits. You're not gonna feel like you have sausage fingers when you play with these because these are big and chunky. It's really nice. And having the 2 expansions there makes it kind of worthwhile to play and explore, and there are different ways that you can play. I really enjoyed it. Yeah, this is a great find. There are only going to be 200 copies of this at Gen Con, and then once they're sold out, it's out of print. So, yeah, if you really want this game, you got to run to the booth at Gen Con because I strongly believe we're going to sell out of this on day 1. And I'll be surprised if we didn't. The second one that I don't have a copy here is Rebel Princess Deluxe Edition. That was originally done in Spain, and we are all princesses. We're having a 5-day party talking about how awesome we are. And then all of a sudden, the princesses of the land decide to crash the party. They're all talking marriage. It's a mad scramble. And if you're the only single princess by week's end, you become, say it with me, the Rebel Princess. And this is just a variant of Hearts. But instead of avoiding Hearts suit, you're avoiding princes and their marriage proposals. Instead of the Queen of Spades, you have a frog prince. It's a lot of fun. I played this game a lot because of The Office, and we're play testing it, but it's a lot of fun. The deluxe version is really nice. You get like thick punchboard tiles for the princesses. We did that because we found that the princess cards sometimes accidentally get shuffled into the deck, which is problematic. The round cards are nice big tarot cards, and it's all the rules for the round card are on the card itself, so you don't have to look into the rule book. It's really, really nice. Like 6 pages of the rule book are just us listing out all the possible outliers that can happen. What I love most about Rebel Princess is that each round card has a different rule on it that changes the game up. And it's really funny because one of those round cards, several of those round cards are just another Japanese trick-taking game. And each round, it feels like a different Japanese trick-taking game. Like there's just one little twist in the rules. So you play one game of Rebel Princess, and you're actually playing like 5 different trick-taking games. And it's just really, really fun to play it and explore it and have all that different variety within the gameplay. I really like it a lot. Sandbag is right here. This is also a trick avoidance game. You are rising in the sky and then you're sandbagging your friends so that way you can win or avoid tricks. Points are bad in this game. What's really cool about this game is how fluid Trump is. Trump is completely controlled by the players and it changes mid-trick. You are able to take, people have like these little cards in front of them. You have like these really bright, colorful artwork. You put like these cards in front of you, like maybe 2 cards in front of you. Everyone does this, and that's your basket. And whatever card appears the most, like if there are maybe 5 yellow cards, then yellow is trump. And so when you play, the cards in the basket are not a part of your hand, but everyone else's basket is potentially part of your hand. And when you play cards, you could take a card from your hand, switch it out for a basket card in someone else's basket, and then play it. So in this way, you're able to change trump mid-trick. You're able to, if someone played a card and they thought that they didn't have trump, well then all of a sudden you switch trump and therefore they play trump and therefore they're going to win. There are all these weird levers for players to pull to avoid taking tricks. And it is definitely something that rewards repeated plays, because if you are used to trick-taking games, you will really like this one because it's just all that control that you have in the gameplay. This is like a hard one to teach. It took me a while to learn how to teach it myself. But I think if you're really into trick-taking games and you like trick-taking avoidance, then this is one I would recommend. The other one from Bezier Games, and again, I work for Bezier Games, so please take this with a big rainbow cloud assault, is Xylotar. Xylotar! We built a Xylotar, and it's us. Anyway, the theme is, it's a whole conversation completely. A polar bear wants to play guitar but can't, so he makes a Xylotar out of xylophone and a guitar, and then he's suspected of murder, runs to the north, and like Edward Scissorhands, when you see the Aurora Borealis, it's him playing his Xylotar. Because. Anyway, what's really cool about this is that it's a deduction game. All the cards are face down, kind of like Lose, if you've played Lose before. All the cards are face down like this, and you don't know what they are because the person to your right assigned them, but you do know that they're arranged from like highest to lowest. So if you play like a 6 here, well then I know that all the cards from here to here are 6 or below, and all the cards from here to here are 6 or higher. But not only do I know that, so does everyone else at the table. And on the cards themselves, they show you like the different ranges, the different suits. Each suit has a different range. Here's the little player aid card, and on the back, it has it as well. What I love most about Xylotar is that most trick-taking games, you only care about your hand. Yeah, maybe you're counting cards, maybe you're counting who's out of suit, out of blue, out of yellow, but you're mostly focused on just on your hand. But what's really cool about Xylotar is that you care about everyone's hand. And there's this group discovery of everyone's hand. And that's really fascinating. I mean, deducing your own hand is the main part of the game, but deducing everyone's hand is what's really fascinating. And there's this really cool aspect of group discovery and how the group can be like, oh, if they lead with this, then that person will break into trump and this person will win. If they lead with this, then obviously that person will win. If I lead with this card, what will happen? If I lead with this card, what will happen? And you could deduce what's happening. And the rule set is really simple. I mean, if you play trick-taking games, I could just tell you, oh, it's must follow. You can lead with trump. You can't lead with your highest card. 1 point per trick. If you meet your bid, you get +5 points. Done. That's pretty much the game. And I love it has that aughts feel of like really simple rules, but there's so many hidden layers in the gameplay that it makes it fun. So Xylotar is a really fun pick for me. And that's almost it from Bezier Games. Let's see here. Moving on. Sumo. Look at this. Look at this tiny little game. Sumo. This is a two-player trick-taking game about sumo wrestling, and it's really interesting because I mean, the cards are really tiny. Look at that, like super tiny cards, super tiny. 5, if you can't read, and like even the stage cards are like tiny. Like look at that. It's just, there we go. It's just super, like this is the sumo stage, very tiny. Like it's this really tiny thing, and but the fun of this game is that this is a game that asks you, can you play this multiple times? Because the fun of this is that you get to build your own sumo player. Like it comes with this, and you're supposed to name your sumo wrestler, and then you could draw him, give him tattoos, and then you keep track of their record. And so after a few plays, like you can play as a sumo wrestler and then add to the record. It doesn't do anything to the gameplay. It just creates this fun environment of, you have this nice stable of sumo wrestlers who all have their own lives and have their own real record of play. So it adds like this weird RPG element to the game. It doesn't do anything to the gameplay. It just adds this nice flavor. And it's a really subtle game in its approach. It's one of the, I think you all have to see to play. I think it's really fascinating. But again, it's like that RPG quality of character creation. And if you're really into that, this might be something that you might be into. Next up is, Park Life. This is, so Park Life came out on Kickstarter a couple of months ago. And it has, oh, look at this. This is a game. There are hedgehogs within the hedgehog. What? Anyway, you can check out my video about this. This is, what I love most about this game is that it does something that's so unique and different. And that is that you are playing cards into a tableau. So after a trick is done, like if you win, I believe, like you stick your card down in front of you and it stays there for the rest of the game. Now for the hand, because when the round is done, those cards stay there. So it alters the deck, and each round the deck will get smaller and smaller, and you'll see more and more information on everyone's tableau, and you get to see how the game evolves that way. Not many trick takers do that, and it's really cool when one does it, and it does it as well as Park Life. Now I played this version. This is the original version. Since then, they have split it in half. So some of the cards are hedgehog cards, some cards are people cards, and they behave differently. This one had to mix them together, and I'm going to tell you that the best way to do it is to mix them both together and play them together. Don't get the hedgehog version, don't get the people version, get them both, mix it together, because that's like, I think that's how you should play. That's how I would play. I don't think if you really need the plushie, but you know, you could have the plushie. The plushies do not come with this. My wife, I had a bad day, and then I came home and she's like, look at this, and now it just permanently sits on my shelf, not facing this way, but the other way, and I just look at it and I always smile ear to ear. Anyway, this is a really fun trick-taking game. I said it was in my top 10 games from Asia for this year so far, and I stand by it because I think it's a really good trick-taking game. I was very surprised by it. And I think you will be too. Moving on is Power Vacuum. I don't know much about Power Vacuum. It's by Keen Bean Studio and or the Grand Gamers Guild. I think it's just about dictators and trick-taking. There's some really cool like bits and assets. Like these wooden meeples look really rad. Man, just the meeple work for board games has just gone unreal in the last few years. It seems like there's some sort of rondelle mechanic. Yeah, it just looks really fascinating. This is something I'll be interested in. It has a 6.2 on BGG, but who knows? Like, I mean, it might resonate with other people. It plays 1 to 5, plays best at 4. It's got a lot of 1s. People say it's a kind of a mess of a trick taker. Okay, hands are too small. Everyone can see what suits you have. Okay, I don't know. That's just one person. I think it looks really cool and rad. So it's something that I would definitely want to play. Next up is Leader Games, booth 837, and that's Arcs. And I don't really need to say much about this because Leader Games has been knocking it out of the park with Arcs. Arcs is this giant space opera with a trick-taking game. And it looks fantastic. People talked about it a lot. I'm really interested in that. I can't wait to play it. Next up is Mind's Vision with one of the best pun names ever. Oh my gosh, Fibonachos. I love it. It's 2 to 5 players by Mind Vision. I know nothing about this game other than it's great. A trick-taking game where players depend on others to activate the trump, which is, I guess, kind of weird. I think that's a really cool thing. I have no idea what it plays like. Next up is Lone Wolves, which is right here. I have played this, and this is, whoa, this is really good. This is a re-implementation of 4 Clans Conflict. You can watch my video where I talked about this. This is like one of the best 2-player trick-taking games I've ever played, period. So smooth, so well balanced. I love it. This is fantastic. The only problem that I have with this is that once you get really good at it, and you and the other person, you both get really good at it, it gets like uber close, like pretty close. Like it's hard for someone to run away with the game. And I mean, that makes it its own tense level. But Lone Wolves, this is an implementation of 4 Clans Conflict, but it is not 4 Clans at all. This has 4 suits, this has 5. This has a hand of 12, this has a hand of 13. And this has so many extra layers to it. I'm planning to do a review video of this. At first, I didn't like the game because I felt like, okay, they added way too much. I kind of liked how streamlined FCC was, and it's just a little bit too much. Then I played it some more, and then I realized, oh, I was playing it incorrectly, and I was playing it correctly, and then, wow, it changed a lot. There is a lot to think about. If you play a lot of trick-taking games, I think you will really like this. If you like area control and you like trick-taking games, there are a lot of things to think about in this game, and it's really fun to sit there and analyze and trying to come up with the best solution for it. I love that you can choose where to win and you can choose where to lose. Like just because I play my card in Area C, you don't have to play your card in Area C. You could lose in Area A. And because you're second player, you know if you're going to win or lose. So choosing where you win or lose is so fascinating. What I loved about both these games is that you have to be in the lead and you have to not be in the lead. And knowing when to make that shift is ultra important. So seeing how the game unfolds in this is just so fascinating. I really like this game a lot. But last but not least, I do want to mention that there is Seers Catalog, which isn't necessarily a trick-taking game. It's a ladder climbing game. Does that count? Do people categorize that? Again, this is by Bezier Games, so take this with a grain. Big bag of salt. Originally there was Of What's Left. Actually, originally there was Seers Catalog, then came Of What's Left, and then now it is Seers Catalog. If you've played this game and you like this game, then I think you'll love this more. I love this game, but I adore this one more. And that's simply because this has 4 power cards and this has 15. This is made with a T2 deck, and how it works is that it's like any other head-shifting games. You don't want to go out. You want to have 1 card in your hand when someone else goes out. And when they're out of cards, then people will score points. If you go out, you get 0 points. Everyone else loses 1 point per card in their hand, so that incentivizes you to get cards out of your hand as quickly as possible. The twist is that if you have 5 or fewer cards, your lowest numbered card, your lowest value card, will give you positive points. So if I have 3 cards, like 13, 12, and 10, well then I will get 10 points, minus 3, 7 points. So what you really want is that 1 card of 13. 13 minus 1, 12 points. So it's really, really fascinating. You feel like you are driving in a Ferrari and you cross a line and then you're slamming on the brakes, hoping someone else hits the brick wall before you so you can maximize your points. Because the closer you get to that brick wall, the more points you're going to get, but as soon as you hit it, you get nothing. Oh, it's really good. Now, the power cards are like T2, where they do certain things, like high a single card, or you can wish for a card. And while the original had 4, this one has 15, and you don't use all of them. And so what's really fascinating is that as you play the rounds, there's this meta of like, oh, I have this card, this power card, so I want to make sure that I play it before that one, but after that one. And there's certain power cards have different combinations that are extremely powerful, that are just super fun to explore and discover. Like there's a way for you to play 13 of a kind, like 13 5s, like 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, 5, and just boom, you could do that and it's possible in this game. I've never seen it done. I played with a group of people and we tried to get it to happen, but it didn't happen. But we got close. We got like eight of a kind played. Anyway, I really like this game. It's really cool. We're pairing it with the little plushie. It's a plushie that the little girl is holding. Boop, boop, boop. So it is just plushie season here for trick takers at Gen Con. Oh, I love it all. I don't have a plushie problem. Maybe you do. And look at this guy. Look at you. So cute. Anyway, these are the trick taking games that are coming to Gen Con. So these are my thoughts on them, at least the ones that I've played. And I hope you have a lot of fun playing trick taking. I will be at booth 3035, which is the busy game booth. Please feel free to stop by. I'm going to be busy all day, so if I ignore you, I apologize. I just have a lot of work to do. But if you see me, please do not hesitate to come and say hi. I would love to chat with you. I love all of these games, but I love gamers more. And once again, thanks for watching. If you're interested in seeing more of these videos, please consider becoming a Patreon, because come in August, these will no longer be public and they'll be for the Patreons only. See you in the next video.